Let's go ahead and start a new section in our notebook. And this section is going to be sort of a review for you of sorts. So I want you to call it Review Descriptive Statistics. Now, you might not be aware of the term descriptive statistics, but you are most likely aware of what is in it. You have probably done it before. You just might not have known what it was called. And so to start descriptive statistics, let's take a data set. Let's take a series of numbers and values that we can measure out. And so let's say our data set 1. Let's say that is equal to several plant heights. And let's say the first plant height that we measure is exactly 2.0 inches. And then the second one is 2.1 inches. Let's say the third one is also 2.0 inches. The fourth one is 2.3 inches. And the last one is 2.2 inches. And so we have 5 values in our data set. What descriptive statistics is basically taking the mean, median, mode, and range. And so let's start by taking the mean. And hopefully you have seen this before. But basically all the mean is the average. Again, hopefully you've seen this before. This is just a review. But what do we do to get the average? Well, we add up all the values and we divide by the number of values. By the number of values. And so what are all these added up? We could say, well, it's 2.0 plus 2.1 plus 2.0 plus 2.3 plus 2.2. And if we add all these up, well, we got 5 2s, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It equals 10, and then 0.0, 0.1, so we got 0.1, plus 0.0 is still 0.1, plus 0.3 is 0.4, plus 0.2 is 0.6. Okay, so these totally add up to 10.6, and of course we have 5 values. And so we divide this by 5. When we say 5 values, we mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Okay, and what do we get if we type in 10.6 divided by 5? We get 2.12. 2.12 is our mean. And so, what about our median? To take our median, the first thing we need to do is we need to order our values from lowest to highest. Then we need to find the middle number. And so a common mistake with taking the median is just looking at the data set out of order and thinking, okay, well, that number's in the middle. There are 5 numbers. This is the third one, and so that is clearly our median. The only problem is these are not actually in order. So we need to reorder data set 1. And if we take the time to reorder data set 1, what do we get? Well, we got 2.0. We have a second 2.0. And so I'm going to go ahead and cross these off as I write them so I don't accidentally write them a second time. And what else do we got? Well, we got 2.1. Then we've got 2.2. I'm going to go ahead and cross those off so I don't accidentally write them a second time. And then, of course, all we have left is 2.3. Well, now that it's reordered, we look at which one is the middle number from lowest to highest, and that is clearly this number, 2.1. So our median equals 2.1. And what about our mode? Our mode is the most occurring number in the data set. Or I guess I should have said value, so we can cross that out and write the word value instead. It's probably a better word to use. But it's the most occurring value in the data set. So what number occurs the most? Well, it's clearly 2.0. It happens 2 times, everything else only happens once. And so the mode in this case equals 2.0. And so again, hopefully this was just a simple review of mean, median, and mode. But now I want to talk about some rules with mean, median, and mode. Some extra rules, some special rules that apply in various situations. And so let's do a second data set. And this time, this data set, we're going to have 12 values instead of 5. And so a few more values. So we'll call this data set 2. And let's start writing out our values for ourselves. Let's say we have a 27, and then we have a 17. Let's say the next value is 12. Let's say then we have a 7, 21, 44, 23, 3, 27 again, 36, 32, and 21. So we should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 values. Awesome. And so there's extra rules for each one of these, mean, median, and mode, that I want you to be aware of. And this data set will go over those. So let's start with our mean. The extra rule that I want you to be aware of with solving for mean is that when you need to round, you always round one decimal past, your data values. So what do I mean? Well, if we look at data set 1, you will see that each one of these were 1 decimal place. For the mean, we would round to the 2nd decimal place. If we look at data set 2, all of them have no decimals. And so we will round 1 decimal past that, which is the 1st decimal place. I'll save you the math. Just trust me on this. If you want, you can go grab a calculator and check my math. But these 12 values add up to exactly 270. And since there's 12 of them, the mean, therefore, will equal 270 divided by 12. And if we type 270 divided by 12 into our calculator, we get 22.5. How convenient. And we don't round to 23 because with mean, we round to 1 decimal place past our original data values. Our original data values were no decimals. This is 1 decimal, which makes this our correct rounded mean. For median, there's an extra rule as well. So we can write that out for ourselves. For median, we can say that if there are 2 middle numbers, so if 2 middle numbers, meaning you have an even data set, make sure you spell numbers correctly, all you have to do is average them. So the first thing we need to do is reorder this. So what do we got? Well, our smallest number is 3. Our next smallest number is 7. And then after that is 12 and 17. And let me go ahead and cross those out so I don't accidentally rewrite them. But the very smallest number is 3, then 7, then 12, then 17. After 17 is 21. And then after that, 21, it looks like there is another 21, so we can write that one as well. So 21 again. And then after that, what's next if I look here? It looks like it is a 23 and then 2 27. So we got 23 and 2 27. So let's write both of those down. 23, 27, and then 27 again. And then what do we have left? It looks like it's just 32, 36, and 44. So 32, 36, and 44. And so there are 12 numbers here now that I've ordered it from lowest to highest. So the 6th and 7th number would be our median. And they are not the same number, they are 21 and 23. And so this is what I mean. If you have two middle numbers, then you average them. And so therefore the median is equal to 21 plus 23 divided by, well, we have two data values, so 2. And if we take the time to do that, hopefully it's obvious to you. If not, grab a calculator and check my math. But it is 22 is our median here. And what about mode? Well, you may be tempted to think that your mode works the same as your median. If you have two modes, you might think that you would average them, but that is not true. If you have more than one mode, we call that either bimodal if there are two, or multimodal if there are three. Multi, like multiple modal modes. So we'll just say multimodal. Multiple modes. And so how many times do we have a mode? Well, if we look, we have two 21s and two 27s. And so the mode for data set 2 is 21 and 27. We have two modes. And it is possible to have 3 or 4 modes, or even more. The last thing I want to talk about is the range. And so the range is just the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. So you take the biggest number and subtract the littlest number, the smallest number, and you will get your range. And so for example, the range for data set 1, if we look back up at the top, the biggest number for data set 1 was 2.3 and the smallest number was 2.0. And so we would just say the range for data set 1 is equal to 2.3 minus 2.0. What do we get? We get 0.3 minus 0.0, basically because the 2's cancel out. We get 0.3 is our range of values. It's the range of heights for those plants. The range for data set 2, well, let's pretend like that's the age of all the people in the room. Let's say there's 12 people in the room. The oldest person, therefore, would be, what, 44 years old, and the youngest person would be 3. So what would be the range of those numbers, the range of those ages? Well, the oldest person is 44, and the smallest number is 3. So the range of ages would be 41 years. We don't need to write the word years. If we don't want to, just say the range is 41. But those are the rules and the extra rules that I'd like you to know about mean, median, mode, and range. And these are called descriptive statistics. I'm going to go ahead and draw myself a signature box at the bottom of my page and cross out any blank space that I have left. And we are done with this video.